Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Thank you guys for coming today. I am really excited. Hopefully we get a good turnout on Facebook today too, because I think this is like some of the best material ever, of course. Chuck White. No, I'm just totally kidding. Totally kidding. But I'm just going to jump right in. So, okay, so who right now is working with an active buyer? How many people are working with an active seller? Okay, so we want to get to the point where we're all working with active sellers, right? Okay, so just remember, how many people are less than a year in the business? Less than 2 years? Less than 3 years? Okay, don't worry. Year 3 is when you start getting rich. Year 3. If you make it to year 3, you're going to be good, all right? That's really the key. Trust me. Like Brian Keene, I remember when he started out, you know, was our Rookie of the Year last year or 2 years ago. And I told him he's going to start out rough, and he could not believe it. He didn't sell anything for the first 6 months. And then he sold a couple in the first year. And then he did like $200,000 in year 2. And this year he should be top 10 doing like $300,000. So it's just so hard when you're starting out, like the pain of getting going and overcoming those objections. You remember, Leanne, you've been around for a while. So, I mean, it's just really hard that first year. And then it just starts to boom if you do everything right. So anyways, let's talk about where we were. First off, we were at being a walking, talking billboard. Let me see. Who's got name tags on? Every single person in the room, except for Ashley, but that's okay. So take one down, pass it around. Take one down, pass it around. 24 bottles of beer on the wall, all right? Lotto ticket, so take one, pass them back. One.
My last one was a winner.
I know, it was a winner? What did you win?
I don't know, it's still in my car. Like,
You don't know.
another ticket and like 10.
Oh, I do have to tell you, I was at a sales meeting, and there was a guy, he was a retired Marine. His name was Ruben Guzman, and I used to pass these out at every sales meeting for people that had name tags on. I gave him a fake one that won $10,000. Yeah, and he was jumping up in the back of me like, hell yeah, go! And I'm like, dude, I just got to tell you, it's fake. I felt really bad about it. I did do that. But you know what? It's probably time to do that again, though, because it's so long ago, people forgot. I'm going to do it tomorrow at the sales meeting, on Thursday's sales meeting. Watch. Who should we do it to? That's the question. I'll pick. All right, somebody that is just... Yeah! That is a good one. Okay, hopefully he's not watching right now. All right, he probably is. All right, so first thing, we want to be the walking, talking billboard. Thank you guys for all having your name tags on. How many people have you run into somewhere where you did not know their name, but they knew you? Elise, how are you? And you're all, hey, you. Right? Have you ever found yourself doing that? Oh, yeah. Okay, in real estate business, we're like mini celebrities because we have our face out in our marketing pieces, we have our face out in our farming, we have it all over. So, and if you're doing any videos or if they're following their social media, they think that we know them, okay, and we don't. And I run into people all the time like that too. But the cool part about your name tag is you're like, hey, Judith, how are you? You know, because you have your name tag on. They might just glance at it real quick, but now they know your name, right? So that's the key. We're going to talk about that a lot. So being a walking, talking billboard. Number 2, the perfect open house. We talked about that. How many people in here have done an open house? How many people here have secured a client from an open house? See, that's what I'm talking about. And we're back in action. We're back doing that, right? So that's good. Next was being an online rock star, right? Making sure that all our profiles are complete. We have our phone numbers. Did anybody go back and redo their profiles? Make sure that their phone number was on their backdrop. Did anybody do that and spend some time doing that after last week? You're the only teacher's pet in here. The rest of you guys, you're like, whoa.
I did actually.
Did you? Yours was already dialed in? Yours was already dialed in? Okay, good. All right, so we're going to jump right in. So we did the walking, talking billboard. We did the perfect open house. We did online rockstar. Those are the first 3. So number 4 commandment is be the Jetsons, not the Flintstones. And I think I'm being the Flintstones just by talking about the Jetsons, because some of you probably don't even know who that is. So I might be being a Flintstone. Stephanie, do you know who the Jetsons are?
Yes,
Dylan? Okay, good. All right, he's 22, so we're okay. We're okay. Whew. All right, I thought I was going to be the Flintstones again. But, okay, so I know it's hot in here. Hey, Michael, you think you could go kick that AC on? Oh, it's on? Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
Is it the light ignoring me?
You think it's the lights?
It's been like this the last week.
All right, let's get the AC people out here to fix it for you guys, okay? Because especially with Stephanie, like, okay, I get it. It's hot, okay? All right. All right, so here's the deal with real estate, okay? Tell the truth. How many of you guys really have an automated system of the way you're contacting people? Things are happening, you're prospecting without you actually having to physically do it. How many in here? How many out there in Facebook world? Probably very, very few. The bottom line is you're using your personality to get business right now. The only reason anybody's using you is because of your personality. And if you don't have a lot of business and you're trying to use the personality, maybe you don't have a good personality. It's very possible, okay? So So, so that being the case, if you don't have a good personality, you can still do really good by automating your business, right? And by creating lead gen activities and doing things that you need to do without actually having to use your personality. Like, so it's about automating things. So personality is only going to take you so far. So that means we have to put systems into place that will create business for us without us having to physically be there. Does that make sense? So that's what I wanted to talk about today, is creating business without you actually having to be the personality that's doing it. So I know you raised your hand that you're using lead gen stuff, right? What are you doing?
Well, I do a lot of social media. I do a lot of postcards in my farm every month.
Are you doing the postcards yourself, or are they automatic?
I create them and then I send them and they just ship them.
Okay, okay.
It's kind of automatic.
Got it. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, we're going to talk more about that. So we had an agent in the company, and this is what really got me started with the automated systems. And he's still here, and he was the guy that trained me. And at the very beginning, he gave me my marketing ideas and all that sort of stuff. And when about probably 8 or 9 years ago, he went out to a big $1 million waterfront listing in Cane Lake. And he was there, he got the listing, everything was great. And then after about 2 or 3 weeks, and he's now in his 70s, and then after about 2 or 3 weeks, he got a call from the client. And the client, and it wasn't like it is now, so it wasn't like 20 offers the first day you list it. You actually had to work to get your property sold back then. Okay, I know it's weird, but it's true. So he ended up getting a call from the client, and the client said, hey, I won't say his name, I'll use Bill. He said, hey, Bill, could you come over and could you bring the cancellation of the listing? We want to cancel this listing, $1 million. And he's like, well, why do you want to cancel this listing? And he said, well, we want to work with a more tech-savvy agent. We just feel like you don't have the technical skills to get this thing sold in this new world of the way we operate now. And he agreed, and he was like, okay, that's fine. I'll bring that over. I understand what you're saying. And so I'm talking to him, and he looks bummed out, and I said, well, what's going on? And he's like, well, they're going to cancel because they said I'm not tech savvy enough. And I said, well, they're not going to cancel. And I grabbed one of the millennial agents, and I said, hey, could you please go with him, go over to that listing with that cancellation paperwork and re-up this thing. Get the price reduction, do whatever you got to do, and sell your tech savviness. So he said, okay, no problem. So they went over together, came back, got a listing extension on it, added that new agent's name on it, and got a price reduction. And I asked him, I said, well, how did you get the price reduction, and how did you get them to re-up, and how did you sell the fact that you were a tech-savvy agent to these people? And it was great. I'll never forget it. What he did is he said, well, I went through and I popped open my computer, my laptop, or my iPad first. And the first guy went over there just with a listing presentation book. Okay, right there, that's the Flintstones. So he shows up with the iPad. The only difference between his listing presentation and Bill's was that it was on an iPad. No different. Same material, same exact thing. Swiping through an iPad versus opening up a book. And he goes, so that was one thing. And he said, but the second thing was, he goes, I popped open Zillow. And I said, well, here, and he pulled up one of his listings. And he showed, well, here's one of my listings on Zillow. And then he went to Realtor.com, pulled it up and said, this is one of my listings on Realtor.com. And then he went to Redfin. This is one of my listings on Redfin. And then he Googled the address, and a bunch of different things came up of that property, another property that he was showing them. And he goes, I just want you to know, Mr. Seller, that I put your listing everywhere. I have it all over the world in thousands and thousands and thousands of sites, plus on 1 million different agent sites. He goes, I put your listing everywhere. And they're like, wow, that's really impressive. He goes, it's going to be all over the place. Now, had they Googled the property that they currently lived in, the property that was for sale, it was also on all those sites. You guys understand? Yeah. Because it was the syndication from the MLS is all it was. So he sold the tools that already exist by doing nothing more than putting that property in the MLS. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? But it's the mindset shift. So he's like, oh, I'm everywhere. Well, yeah, so is every other agent. He just sold the fact of the syndication. So that's something you need to think about when you're going out on listing appointments and we're doing all that sort of stuff. We've talked about this before. Using Moxie is one way to automatically look like a tech-savvy agent. Hopefully you guys are all using Moxie on your listing presentations and not using an old book. We have some good ones through PowerPoint, that you're probably using if you're still using the COVID ones. And by the way, if you need a new listing book, you can just ask Jen and she'll give you one. But really, you should be using Moxie. And does everyone in here know how to use Moxie? Go ahead, Michael.
We're doing a Moxie class on Wednesday the 30th.
Wednesday the 30th. Okay. Yep. Please be on that. Please be on that. It is so hot in here. This is insane. All right. I want those AC people out here like immediately. Okay, yeah, now you can do that, I understand. So presenting on an iPad, using Moxie, basically just showing the tools. And another thing that you can do, which is really ridiculous, is hey, here's a copy, here's my Facebook, you can scroll through it. Here's my Google, if you Google my name, here's what's gonna happen. If you could show them your Coldwell Banker profile, you could show them your Zillow profile, but show them the completeness of those things. It's just about looking like you have shiny pennies and looking like you're tech savvy. That's really one of the biggest things. So it's just embracing technology. And one of the things that is your goal is, and I like to call it generate, capture, cultivate, and automate. So the first thing that your goal is to generate leads. Do we agree? And you said you're using Facebook and Facebook ads. Are you using Facebook ads?
Yes, and also LinkedIn.
Okay, and you're using LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do a lot of the $1 million listings on there.
Okay. So you're constantly trying to generate leads, right? Okay. And is anyone here actively going out trying to generate online leads right now? You're actively trying. And I'm talking about people you don't know, right? So are you using Facebook or what are you doing, Dylan?
I'm using Facebook. I'm using Google because I had like a $100 ad credit for Google My Business,
Mm-hmm.
and then a little bit of Instagram.
Okay, good. And I remember you said last time that you got a listing off of that. $1 million listing, right?
No, almost half.
500,000. Okay, good. So my question would be, what are you doing to generate listings right now? A lot of people buy leads from Zillow. A lot of people, will buy them from different places. Is anybody in here buying any leads at all in this room right now? Okay. Well, if you were to buy leads, the number one place to buy them, does anybody know the best place to buy leads? The most successful, Boomtown is good, Zillow is okay, but the number one is generally Realtor.com. So if you guys were a team, and I was the team leader, and you guys were all my agents, generally here's how it works on a team. I buy a bunch of leads, right? Like let's say I buy $30,000 in leads. What happens is you use programs where all of your phones ring at the same time when a lead comes in, because you got to grab that lead, right? All of your phones ring at the same time. The first person to grab it, it's their lead. That's how generally teams work. So if you're using, and the problem is most of them are junk. Like even when we had Tristan Ahumada on, he was basically saying that maybe 2 out of 100 leads that you buy are going to be good. That's what he said, the guy that runs LabCode Agents. The kicker is though, when a Realtor.com lead comes in versus a Zillow lead versus some of the other sources, and this is what some of the people that used to be on teams told me, everyone would see the Zillow lead and just be like, oh, wait, okay, oh good, at least picked it up. I don't have to take this one. But then the Realtor.com lead would come in and they would grab it. And the reason that they would grab it is because it does something that's called scrubbing. Have you guys ever heard of scrubbing? So a lead comes in, someone else from Realtor.com responds to that lead, answers to that lead, and cleans it up to make sure that it is a good, solid person before that lead is kicked back down. You guys understand? So those are scrubbed versus the one that says, well, I got an $8,000 lot out here in Barstow that I'm really interested in. Okay, and you're like, oh shit. And you want to take that call anyway and ask if they have anything to sell and maybe they're an investor or whatever. But the big kicker is, it actually is cooling down a little bit. Can you guys feel it? But the big kicker is that if you can get somewhere that they're already scrubbed, those are the gold leads. So number one, generating online leads. Number two is your job, of course, is to capture their information, right? So anytime you get them on the phone, are you guys interested in how to convert online leads? I'm just going to briefly touch on this because this could be a whole class in itself. That's a good one, Adam, if we ever wanted to talk about that, all those scripts and stuff. But number one, you get them on the phone. Number two, how do I keep them on the phone? How do I convert them? What sorts of things am I supposed to do to make sure that I can build that relationship? And that's what really good buyer's agents are all about. When the people that buy, and it's about asking them the certain 5 questions that you have to ask. It's about keeping them on the phone for a minimum of 5 minutes. It's about not giving them information about other properties that are coming up, but trying to set the appointment to meet them there. It's about just creating that sense of urgency. So now I've got the call, it's been scrubbed a little bit, I've converted them by asking the big 5 questions, I've tried to keep them on the phone for 5 minutes, and I've done what? I've asked questions, not talked the whole time, trying to find out what their needs are, and then create that urgency. The third thing is cultivating the relationship, right? Which is trying to make sure, because another thing about online leads and what people don't realize with teams, whether you're on Steve Battista's team or somebody else, it generally takes 14 months to get a lead closed off of a purchased lead. That's just, or those calls. 14 months is really how long it takes. And then it's about creating automated systems to keep in contact with those people, which is what I wanted to talk about today. So that's generally, and that is such in a nutshell, because that's a whole class in itself, which, would you guys be interested in the online leads and conversions and stuff like that? Because that is a class we could definitely do. Okay. How many of you guys are familiar with text-2 codes? Anybody using text-2 codes? Okay. Text-2 codes are, is anybody here have Elevated Network, by the way? Okay. There are sources through your title rep, through your home warranty, through your lender, and I know if you guys are using Point, you can contact your lender. And so if you text, and I'm going to see if this works. Can you do me a favor, Jessica? Can you text Chuck? Okay, so I'm going to give you a number right now. Okay, ready? And I wish I could put that up on the screen, but I can't, right? There's no way I can. So, all right, so I'm going to show you. But a text-to code, and this is really crazy for the people at home, they don't get to see it. Turn around and take a look at that, guys. You see that text-to code? It says text Chuck to 951-476-2255. Okay, so that is a text-to code. So any listing that you guys get or any ad that you get, what's going to happen is you're going to they're going to get back a video tour or whatever you want to link. Here's the link, here's the MLS link, here's the video tour, here is anything at all that you want to send back to them. When they text Chuck to that number, they get that back, and it may or may not still be set up. Did you get anything back yet?
Do I put just
Yep, just text Chuck to that number.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
And then what happens is I get a text on my phone that somebody just inquired about this particular property. Somebody asked for a copy of the video tour. You immediately can call them right back. That is a text-to code. All your ads that you do, every single ad that you do, every single flyer that you put out there, every single postcard that you're mailing out a lease, everything that you do is about having a text-to code on there, which you can get set up. Okay, that's right, thank you. So, and then again, I'm capturing their information, and in return, they're receiving a video tour of the property or the Matterport or whatever that may be. You guys with me? That is a text-to code. So on all ads, you want to do that. You can contact Point Mortgage, whoever your lender may be, whether it's Kim or whoever it may be, and just get a copy of that. Get that program, and they'll set it up for you. So that's a text-to code in case you didn't know what that was. The next one is, of course, the scheduled texts. And that's another way to keep in touch with them. If somebody does inquire about anything, you want to immediately get back to them. So if you do get in any conversation, just respond immediately and just say, hey, it was great to meet you, blah, 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 blah. Because again, you are trying, or I'm going to send you a video tour of a particular property, Mr. Buyer, that's going to be, that just came up on the market yesterday, because I'm trying to capture their cell phone numbers, right? Because that's the key. So scheduling text, of course, birthdays, house anniversaries, we don't even talk about that. But buyer and seller lead websites. Can you throw that up, Adam, for the Facebook people at home? Is anybody in here using buyer and seller websites? Okay, all right. We're going to take it back up to the next level in the next classes. All right. So basically, and I wish I could put this up on the screen. Can you put this up on the screen or no? No way. Okay. We'll get there. Hang on. So basically, have you ever seen when people put up an ad and it says, "What is your home worth?" Have you guys ever seen that? And then it's got a little box down here, and it says, "Show me the address." And then you type in the address, and basically, what's that? The landing page is correct. Yeah, buyer and seller lead websites, landing pages. Are you using those? And so if I put a picture of me, and it says, "What is your home worth?" and the address, my Facebook friends, when I post that out there, are going to know me. Okay? They're going to know who I am. Elevated Network, you can do those super, super cheap. You can also get those through your lender. I'm going to get a list for you guys of where you can get all of these different things. Because, you know what, and I want to talk to Becca. I'm going to talk to Becca about that to make sure that you guys get some of these tools so that you can do that. But if you see a picture of me and it says, "What is my home worth?" and it has the address, and I'm posting that on Facebook, don't you guys think that's gold? The minute they type that in, you know exactly who that is. It pulls up all their information and kicks back that Dylan Hafner is interested. Here's his address, blah, blah, blah. Now I can reach out to him and send him that CMA or drop it off at their house. You guys with me? I like doing it through people that you know, but a lot of people do that just in general. They'll just put blanket ads, and that's what they're putting out there on Facebook. What is my home worth? And then whoever hits it up, and then I'm capturing their information. I can go knock on their door. I can call them. I can do whatever I want to do. So when you guys hear a landing page or a seller lead website or buyer lead website, that's what they're talking about. You with me now? Is that a new tool for you guys, at least knowing what that is? Yeah, I know you're already using it. So the other thing is pulling out your phone and pulling up the Coldwell Banker app, and I left my phone in my office, but pulling up the Coldwell Banker app. I don't know how many of you guys are using the Coldwell Banker app, but wherever you are at any time, and the MLS has it as well, but you can basically just click the Coldwell Banker app. It opens up and it shows you every listing around you within a 1 mile, 2 mile radius. So I can be across the street, it's going to pull it up. If you do not have the downloaded Zap app, make sure that, and does Robert go through that with you guys when you first start and give you that app? Okay, good. Yes, Michael. Yes? You do. Oh, Michael does that. And then, so wherever you are, I mean, I literally remember I was in a little cove in Maui, and I pulled up my phone, and I opened the Coldwell Banker app, and it showed me the price of every single home that was along the cliffs. You can be in Idaho. You can be in Colorado. You can be anywhere that there's an MLS, and in that ad, you can see, or sorry, in that app, you can see exactly what is for sale and how much it is. Okay, so that's another thing. If you do not have the Coldwell Banker app, please talk to Michael Wysocki, and he will get that set up for you. Now, if I give you that app, Chris, and let's say that I'm going to send you a link to that app, I send you that link, when Chris looks at any properties that are in Colorado or in Idaho or in Temecula or in Murrieta and he likes it or favors it or anything at all, I'm notified that he just looked at a property in that particular area. And now I know he's looking at that particular area. You guys with me? So that's another way. Now, if I pull that up on a listing appointment and I show this is an app that we use, this is everything around it, anytime anybody clicks on any of these things, I'm notified that, about your house, that they're interested. What do I look like now? By describing a landing page, by describing the Coldwell Banker app, by using all of the different things that I'm talking about, whether it's the text 2 codes, whatever, and showing that to Mr. Seller, I now look tech savvy. You guys with me? And just having 3 little slides in your Moxie makes me look tech savvy by showing a text 2 code, showing a landing page, showing the Coldwell Banker app. So that's the Jetsons versus the Flintstones. So, and we'll work more on those. I think would you guys be interested in me diving into that stuff with you guys and how to create a landing page and all that? I think that would be a really good tool. So we'll do that. Okay, chapter number 5 is turning strangers into clients. So you guys know that wherever you go, whatever you do, have you met different people, and there's people in this room that are like that when you see them, you automatically feel like this magnetic attraction to them, and not in that way, okay? I'm talking about literally like, I like their vibe. Like all of a sudden you're like, ooh, who are you? What are you all about? You know what I mean? And you meet certain people like that. Generally, when you meet top producing agents, that's the vibe. If Mike Zing walked in here, you might feel that. Even though Jennifer Murphy is a little bit more subtle, you'll feel it. Right? You'll feel it from the top producing agents. When Kayla walks in the room, for some reason, you feel it. So why is it that some people have this draw to them and other people don't? I'd like to think that I do, because I work really hard on making sure that I do. Why is that? You know what I mean? So, and do you have it? And if you don't have it, it can be learned. So turning strangers into clients first starts with being someone that people want to know, right? Someone that people want to be close to, people that want to know about you. Why? Why? What's you about? What are you about? Why do I feel something special here? So number 1 is that magnetic attraction when somebody walks in the room. And I believe it all starts with energy and enthusiasm. We talk about that all the time. Christian Amata talked about that. Every single, Anthony Robbins event, every Brian Buffini event, every single person, whether it's a Brian Tracy book, whatever it is, it all begins with having energy and enthusiasm and people wanting to know you, because maybe it's a little bit contagious. You know what I mean? So the more positive I am, doesn't make you want, you're smiling right now. You feel it because you want to do it, right? Let's find out about each other. Tell me all about you. You know what I mean? So it's important. People are just drawn to it. So that's where it starts, is first, to get to know people, you have to be someone that they want to get to know by the way you carry yourself. That's sales. And like I said, you can have that too. And so it's energy and enthusiasm, but it's also positivity. If you're always really positive, people are going to be attracted to that. If you're negative, they're going to run for the hills. And I swear, you can ask anybody that works with me. I have been talking to people, and I'll just be like, you know what? I got to go. And I will literally just walk away because I can't deal with that shit. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like, it's hard enough to stay positive rather than have some Eeyore around that's trying to bring me down, right? And I've told you this before. I mean, we had an agent that, I told you, I got evicted from my apartment. Again. I'm like, I'm never talking to that person again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to know that. Bring me up. Make me feel good. Make me feel like somebody I want to be around. So positivity is really big. And if you start going down rabbit holes of like politics too and stuff like that and crying about Trump or crying about Biden or any of that sort of stuff, that's negative. That's not going to take you anywhere. If you find yourself going down a negative path, just leave. Just leave that damn conversation. Even if it's in a relationship conversation, just get out of it, right? So again, we talked about energy and enthusiasm and all that stuff, but positivity, energy, and enthusiasm are infectious. They really are infectious. And they make you be like, I'm going to call him or I'm going to call her because she's just got that killer vibe. You have a good vibe, Leanne. You have a great vibe. You're always positive. You're always smiling. I like it. I like to talk to you. So a couple of you other in here? Not so much. Okay. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. But that's the first thing. The other thing is names. Names is really important. So it's really great to be like likable and energetic and positive and all that sort of stuff. But if you don't remember their names and if you don't capture their information, it really doesn't matter, right? So the first thing that you have to do is, and again, I asked you before, I run into people constantly that I don't remember their name. And so like my friend, whenever she's with me and we meet somebody, if I say, by the way, have you met, I won't say her name. By the way, have you met, so-and-so? And then she'll always go like, oh, what was your name? Because she knows that's the cue. Yep. You guys with me? Yep. Because I don't say like, oh, have you met Corey? That's different. But if, so that's my cue. So maybe you guys can use that too if you don't remember somebody's name. If you're a couple or anybody that you're with that you spend a lot of time with, oh, have you met Jessica? Or Jessica, have you met? No, what was your name? Boom, now I remember their name, and then you're gonna remember it. So there are keys to remembering people's names too, and details. Bill Clinton, one of the things that was, of course he was a Rhodes Scholar and a genius and all that sort of stuff, but the big killer thing about him is he remembered over 250,000 people's names. Now, number one, it's a photographic memory, right, of some amazing stuff. But he had a skill in the way that he would remember people's names that he carried with him. So whether he was in Arkansas, whether he would go to Missouri, whether he was in Montana or flew out to California, he always remembered people and remembered their names. And that's part of what makes them special. You know what I mean? Made him special. So number one, it would be like, hi, I'm Chuck. What's your name? Stephanie, nice to meet you. Okay, so what was it again? Stephanie. Okay, so he would always, number one, make them say their name, and then he would immediately ask them their name a second time. So that's what he would do. And then he would use their name in a conversation. So Stephanie, I just have to ask, what do you do? So now, so now she said it twice, and I've said it twice. You guys with me? So by doing that, and then using that person's name in the conversation. So Corey, do you have any kids? Oh, well, I have one, and so you're getting married, right? So Corey, when are you getting married? But do you see what I just did? I said it twice. And now I've got Corey, down. And so number one, by repeating their name multiple times throughout that conversation is one way to keep their name. And this is all How to Win Friends stuff for those of you guys that have read it. And so the next thing is trying to figure out a feature to remember their name, about them. So, it could be, like I shouldn't say this, but like to get people to remember my name, I will, number one, a name tag is fabulous, right? But I always say, you guys heard that thing, Chuck, Bo Buck, Banana, Fanafo? Like whatever it may be, but they remember it by, you remember it too by trying to apply something. Jessica Wells, okay, Deep Well, like whatever it may be, like you just have to try to figure out, Barbara Brown Eyes or whatever it may be, just trying to remember their name by something, that's a big key. Gabby the Gabber. You know what I mean? You're going to remember that because she just won't stop gabbing. She never shuts up. All right? You're like, yeah. Okay, good. Do I get to talk too? Or, but that's Gabby, right? Gabby the Gabber. I'm totally kidding.
Plus, no one's going to forget the name Whitehead.
I know. Well, that's the one thing I was talking about last time with branding. Luckily, Whitehead is a gift and a curse, right? Because, I used to get prank calls from kids. I remember one in particular. Hello, is Chuck Blackhead there? No, you have the wrong number. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong zit. Click. So like I've heard all that stuff. But the bottom line is, okay, that they remember my name. So I'll take it. You know what I mean? So in medical sales, for example, we had an agent that went into medical sales and she ended up making like $600,000-$700,000 just killing medical sales. And her key was that not only did she remember the name of the receptionist, which is the gatekeeper up front, but she would also find out something about their lives and then pick up their phone, boom, and put the notes directly in the phone. So she would find out that her son played for the Astros, little Little League team or whatever, and that they had a playoff game this week or whatever that may be. So to really, really start building that relationship, we need to sweep this room. This is driving me crazy right here. I'm sorry. But anyways, nuts. All right, but anyways, I can't stop looking at it. So anyways,
from the ceiling tiles from the lights this morning.
All right, fine. So the kicker is trying to remember a little bit of extra detail about him so that the next time you see him, you can go like, oh, Stephanie, or Corey, or you have one child and was it 3 years old or whatever? Is it 3 or 2? You have a 5-year-old? Okay, cool. But I remember that you had a daughter, right? Yeah. Okay, so but do you feel anything different? Because I remember you have a daughter that's 5-year-old and I know you're getting married. So those are small details that we want to remember. Does that make sense? So the girl would remember the receptionist details up front, or remember a birthday, or bring in a candle, with a little, on top of a little cupcake for her birthday, or whatever that may be. It's just about remembering those little extra details that will build those relationships forever and turn those strangers into clients and to long-term relationships. But again, so it's a big win when you learn the personal details about anyone at all. So if you're using Elevated or if you're using Zap or whatever CRM you're using that is keeping your database together, you should put a couple of little notes over on the side. It's kind of cool now because through social media, you don't have to remember everything anymore. You can go on and you can see the situation. You can see where they live. You can see, if they're in a relationship. You can see if they have, 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever. You can see if they're at the Astros game, for their kid or whatever, which is really, really helpful. So of course, our goal is to get out there and meet people. And I told you guys before, I don't believe in business cards. You guys know that. You can give one out, but I don't believe. The only reason I would give you one is so that you see my face again. and associate it with my name. That's it. Because they're going to toss them immediately. No one's going to put it in your wallet and carry that shit around. No one's going to do that. So I don't believe in it. Again, our job is to collect cards. I'm fresh out. Let me add you into Facebook. You know what? Actually, would you mind? I have some really cool stuff coming up. Finding a reason to grab their cell phone number is the real key. If you can find some reason to find their cell phone, that is the real key, whatever it may be at all. And you just got to find something in that conversation. Collecting cards, of course, we don't give them out. And then the last thing, of course, is creating some form of urgency that they have to get back to you or you have to get back to them. You know what I mean? Oh, what kind of music do you listen to? Oh, I like reggae. Cool. Well, do you know Revolution? Anybody heard of Revolution, by the way? That's like one of the best bands ever. They're going to be playing at the Orange County Fair on August 6th. So actually, I have some details on it. I can text it to you if you want. You know what I mean? It's going to be super great. Do you know who they are? Yeah, they're fantastic. So anyway, so creating urgency and finding some way to grab their cell phone number is the key, because that's the numero uno most important thing. We talked about it before, but leveraging social media before you talk to anyone. Crazy story. I met somebody on Saturday. I was actually on Friday night. It was a realtor from another company, and she had interviewed a long time ago with this company. And we were talking, and she's opening her own company now and all that sort of stuff. And I said, hi. I said, oh, I'm in real estate too. She goes, oh, well, nice to meet you, whatever. And blah, 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 blah. And then she was not the nicest person in the world when I initially met her. And then she walked away, and then I got a friend request within about a minute or two, and then she came back over, and she's like, I just realized who you were. I did meet you. She went onto my social media and looked up everything, and she's like, oh, and then all of a sudden the whole tone changed. But she walked away, pulled up the social media, friend requested me, figured out who I was, and then came back and then had a whole new conversation with me. Does that make sense? But that's a tool for you guys. All of a sudden, Chris, and I look at him, and then I go, oh, okay, cool. He has a son that's in the Navy, whatever that may be, blah, 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 blah. Now I can go right back and have something to talk to him about. You know what I mean? Hey, I just friend requested you just so you know. And by the way, I was just on there and I saw that you have a son that's in the Navy, right? It's been there for a year. He's on a ship, he's working in the engine room, whatever that may be. But it's just a way to build those relationships. Again, our job, turning strangers into clients. I got a call, she's probably 4 years ago now. There was a new president put in for Coldwell Banker. And he called me out of the blue. And he said, hey, Chuck, how you doing? He said, I'm Charlie. And I said, I'm doing good. He goes, by the way, I just got to tell you, he goes, I've been kind of keeping track. He goes, do you think your son's football team is going to go to state this year? Because he was going to Marietta Valley back when we were super great. And I said, I don't know. He goes, your schedule? He goes, looks like you guys are winning some big games and you beat so-and-so and yada, yada, yada. What position does he play? All this different stuff. And he goes, I saw he's a captain too. That's pretty cool. I'm like, yeah. And I was all into that, right? Because that was my whole life at the time. If you have kids and they're in sports, that's the biggest thing in the world. And I'm just super fired up. I didn't care anything about him, but I loved him. This guy was my boy. You know what I mean? And so I got off the phone and I realized, shit, I just got worked. I just got worked, and it worked. I'm like, I love this guy, because he went onto my Facebook. He looked up every single thing about what I'm into. He saw that there was constant football, posts and all this different stuff, and so he knew what I wanted to talk about and built an instant relationship with me there. So that was pretty cool. And he made the conversation about me. I knew nothing about him. I didn't find out how long he'd been in the business. I didn't find out, what his background was, what brand he came from, nothing. I didn't care, because he was asking about my favorite subject. Me. Right? So just like you guys, you're your favorite subject, your clients are their favorite subject. So again, nobody wants to hear you talk. They want to hear you ask questions, right? So Leanne, you're from North Carolina?
Yes.
And were you born and raised there?
No.
No?
I was raised in Florida.
You were raised in Florida, then you went up to North Carolina? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. How long were you in North Carolina?
On and off, maybe 10 years. It was military. So now I know she's from a military background. She's been in North Carolina for 10 years. She was born in Florida. It's just collecting information, so the next time we talk, we can continue to connect. And I'm asking you questions. About the Gators.
No, are you a Gators fan?
Florida Gators.
Okay, all right, I like it. So again, and no offense, but nobody wants to hear you talk. They just don't. They don't want to hear you talk. They want to talk about themselves. And then again, I thought that president was the greatest guy since sliced bread, right? He didn't say one word other than ask me 2 or 3 questions, and I love him. So it's the same with you guys. And I've also walked, if you walk by the conference room and you see an agent that's talking to their client, as opposed to listening, they're in trouble. We had a walk-in that came in one time, I'll never forget, in Marietta, and the agent, he just talked and talked. Every time I went by, he was talking more and more. He wasn't asking any questions, and I knew he was doomed. He lost that client. He just wasn't asking the questions. He was talking. Nobody wants to hear you talk. And then you guys are probably, you're a lot of experienced people out there, but I remember I was showing property, some of you guys have probably heard this, to a corrections officer. He worked in a prison, and she was a teacher. And he'd been in the prison for a long time. And let me tell you, that'll make your personality pretty rough working in the prisons for all that time. He, always had chaw on his lip, and he was kind of buffed out. But he was probably one of the hardest clients I've ever had to connect with, because we would go show property and he never showed any emotion. I could never connect with the guy. I couldn't get the questions, that I was trying to build that, but I just couldn't do it, which is really difficult for me. And I remember we looked at a bunch of different houses. A couple of them I really liked, and then we went to this one house over on Rimrock here in Canyon Lake, and they were hoarders. The people the sellers were hoarders. They had boxes lined up against the walls. All the windows were closed, right? All the windows were closed, and I was like, I literally could not wait to get out of this, because I'm a light, bright, and open guy. Like, light, bright, and open, man, make me feel good, give me the good vibes. And I literally was like, come on, like, are you done? Let's get out of here, And so we get outside, and I was like, wow. I said, are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? And he goes, yeah. Oh, I love it. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, and I was 2 seconds from blowing that deal. And he goes, it's exactly what I want. I love the layout. I love it. And it's probably because of his background and what he does. He loved the fact that it was kind of like, he loved the design of that house. But I was 2 seconds from blowing that deal. And he ended up buying that house. But so sometimes you just have to shut up and listen, or you'll talk yourself right out of deals. But again, it was me talking too much. I never even, had I engaged and said, God, that house was a nightmare, they might have been like, oh, I don't want to buy that. But just by asking questions, and I want to remind you again, shut up and listen. That is the key. Don't talk yourself out of a deal. And again, that's a little bit more of the How to Win Friends. How many people in here, did you end up reading that book? Did anybody end up reading it? We're going to review it. We're going to do it. Okay, good. Okay, so next thing is the 6 keys to powerful relationships. I believe there's 6 keys. And really, I think we've talked about a lot of these things. I'm just going to kind of recap them. Number 1, stay positive all the time. No negativity. Nobody wants to hear about your divorce. No one wants to hear about your relationship breakups. No one wants to hear about anything at all. They want you to be positive and ask them about them. Stay positive. Number 1, stay positive. Number 2, connect at a deeper level. And I learned this in management originally. Hey, Elise, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing great, thanks. That is not a relationship. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
How are you really doing?
Good.
Okay, but so tell me, what's some good stuff that's going on in your life? But do you see the difference? So you can ask people, how are you doing? That's one thing. But then you can ask, no, Corey, how are you really doing? That's how you connect at a deeper level, because most of us are just in passing. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? How's the kids? Okay, good. Great to see you. Boom, I'm out. But if you go, how are the kids doing? How old are they? What's their situation? That's connecting at a deeper level. So number 1 is staying positive. Number 2 is connecting at a deeper level. And so many people, when you are out at a Little League game, or when you're out at a party with friends, or when you're at a poker tournament, or when you're wherever you are, we give them one of these. Don't do that. Your job is to go, so Leanne, are you from North Carolina? No, I've been there for 10 years. So now we're building a relationship and I know more about you. So it's just so easy for us to go like, and live life that way, as opposed like, I don't know you yet, right? I know him, but I don't know you yet, so now I'm going to find out, right? So where have you been? Why haven't you been at the classes? What do you do for a living? Where did you come from? What's your background? Tell me everything. Go. You know what I mean? So that's a different level, right, for you and I to connect. Number 3, remember the simple things, like I said. So now I know you have a 5-year-old. What's your daughter's name? Kylie. Okay, cool. So now I know that you have a daughter named Kylie. Remembering that detail the next time I see you, how's Kylie? How are you going to feel? It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. So if somebody says, and I've had that happen too, like where people have been on my social media, like, hey, so Trevor got into San Diego State, congratulations. I'm like, you know my son's name? Like, really? Okay, well, yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's just about that, remembering the simple things, like somebody had to put their dog down. That's a big deal. You know what I mean? Or whatever it may be, but that's how you kind of create that powerful relationship. So staying positive, number 1, connecting at a deeper level, number 2, remembering the simple things like names and kids is number 3. Number 4, I've talked about it a million times. Always look at their profile. Yes?
I have to say the most important thing you ever taught me, Chuck, was he who asks the questions controls the conversation. So when I'm getting bored in a conversation and the person keeps talking, I just ask them another question about something I'm interested in.
What do you think of Bitcoin?
Yeah, it works amazingly, and I just want to thank you for that.
You're welcome, man. Yeah. You're welcome. But it is true, right? I mean, you can. And so where do you live? What city? Do you own your own home? Okay, well, have you ever thought about it? I mean, what do you think? Is it on the goal list?
Yeah.
Have you ever been pre-qualified or talked to anybody or anything?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. You know what you should do? You should have somebody look at it, even if you're going to buy in 3 years. You should have somebody take a look at it, just run your credit, check out your income so that you can know the things you want to do to eventually buy, because you want to be a homeowner, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Okay, so what did I just do? I just controlled her conversation. Did I make you want to buy? You probably wanted to buy anyway.
Yeah.
So you guys with me, though? It's just about controlling the conversation, so thank you. But looking at their profile, that's number 4, and finding out about them. I talked to you before. creating powerful relations, shut up and listen. If you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you saw when the gentleman went into the CEO's office, the guy, in the book, this guy is continually trying to get into the CEO's office to try to pitch his product. And he cannot get in there, He's thundering away at the gatekeeper, which is the receptionist and his assistant up front, thundering away, he can never get in. And finally, he breaks the receptionist that says, would you just give this guy 2 minutes so we can get him off my ass? And the guy says, fine, we'll give him 2 minutes. So this is back 100 years ago, it's in 1915. So, wow, over 100 years. So anyways, so he gets in front of him and he sits there and he starts saying, okay, Mr. CEO, I want to talk to you about this, and here's my product, and here's how it works, and here's why we're better than everybody else, and da-da-da-da-da. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, well, we'll be in touch. And he's like, shit, I just blew that. I didn't get anywhere. Oops, sorry about that. He goes, I didn't get anywhere. And he goes, oh, yeah, okay. He goes, well, it was nice of you to come in. And the guy knew that he was doomed. And he starts walking out, and he looks over, and he sees a framed little thing on the wall that is just stamps. And it stamps from all around the United States. And as he's walking out, he goes, oh, you collect stamps? And the guy's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, oh, man. He goes, would you mind if I took a look at your stamp collection? Like, I love stamps. I think they're super awesome. And he's like, absolutely. So the CEO gets up out of his chair and walks over to the thing. And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, well, I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this. And he said, but, I collect with my son, but my son is missing, is looking right now. We're still missing 2 or 3 states. And he's like, oh, really? He goes, well, what states are you missing? Blah, 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 blah. And he just gets the guy just going and talking about this guy's stamp collection, how he collects with his son. So by the end of the conversation, guess what happened? He got the order. You guys see what I mean? He didn't get it by presenting all of his crap. He got it by asking him about his stamp collection and asking him about his son. And then this guy who became, and again, How to Win Friends is about interviewing the most powerful people in the world at the time, the billionaires of the time. And another story was about how this guy went out to this guy's property to pitch something, was bombing, and then saw that his dogs, I think they were Pomeranians or something, as he was leaving, and he goes, oh, you breed Pomeranians? Boom, he was in. You guys see? The Zings were out on a listing presentation, and they said that it was literally the worst presentation ever. There was 3 or 4 agents that were going, and they were just bombing. I know, it's getting sweaty. I know. They were just bombing the listing presentation, and they knew that they were in trouble. They got up. Robin got up. She went to the bathroom. When she was there, she saw a plane that was kind of angled on a little statue. And she came out of the bathroom, and she goes, I saw that plane in your bathroom. She goes, are you a pilot? And he goes, yeah, I was a pilot. That's what I did. And she goes, well, Mike's a pilot. Boom, it was over. Got that listing. You guys know what I mean? So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're kind of scanning the house going like, oh, okay, into that, into this, into that. Because you're not there to just present your little presentation. They're not going to like you based on that. They're going to like you based on what you see in their house and how you connect. They're hiring you and your personality once you're in front of them. That's just how it works. So just something to keep in mind. And then, of course, the last thing in creating powerful relationships, and really it's not a powerful relationships thing, it's more of a tool, remind everyone that you sell homes. That's what you do. Don't forget that, to remind everybody that you sell homes. That's just the key. So the next section is commandments for life. How are we doing on time? We're okay. Creating clients for life. So now I've met people, I've built the initial conversation, I've added them into my database. I've learned a little bit about the fact that you have a daughter that's 5-year-old named Kylie, that you lived in North Carolina for 10 years, that you lost over 100 pounds, that you have a son in the Navy, right? That Gabby will talk your ear off, right? I don't know anything about Judy. Stephanie's got a couple of kids, lives in Judith, and a couple kids. See? Think I'll ever call you Judy again?
No.
All right. That Elise is doing some Facebook marketing, right? I mean, I know your personal situation. You've texted me some things that I know about you, right? I know Dylan's 22 years old and probably going to crush it and got a listing off of Facebook. But what's happening here? I'm building relationships with each and every one of you and getting to know a little bit more about you, right? So we know how to do that, but now I got to figure out, okay, I met these people, I like them. How can I make sure that I know them for the rest of my life? How can I make sure that I am constantly keeping in contact with them? So now I know all these people, and now I got to figure out how am I going to keep in contact with them, and which ones do I focus on? Because there's a million people out there, and if you're in sports with kids, or if you are in some form of a charity, or if you're working at Oak Grove Charity, or if you are working at the any of the shelters or whatever, you're going to meet a ton of people. But now I got to figure out who are the top 100 and how am I going to determine who they are? Well, I've always said this, and you guys heard it a million times. Are they worth spending $25 a year on? That's my number one question. So I've got that. Now I've got it down to my top 100, which is your key to success. If you do not have a top 100 put together right now, you're doomed. You're just doomed. So I've got my top 100. These are the people that I'm going to be sending out my lotto tickets at St. Patrick's Day. 4th of July is coming up. You know, a lot of the top producers, like Giovanni, who's probably going to be the Rookie of the Year, he ordered 200 beach balls with this big, with his name on it, and Coldwell Banker and all that stuff. He's delivering it to every one of his clients for 4th of July. He's doing the things that he needs to do to make sure he's spending that $25 on that top 100. And so the next thing is, you have to stop being afraid of being awkward or pushy. When people come into this business, have you called your friends and asked them for business? Well, no, I don't want to be that Amway salesman that's trying to push and sell and do that sort of stuff. You have to be awkward and pushy. No one in here is awkward and pushy. None of you guys are pushy. None of you guys are going to come across being super salesy. You don't need to worry about that. I'd rather you did. And it's the people that are not afraid to really get out there and ask for business, to ask their mom, to ask their sister, to ask their best friend, to ask their neighbor. If you are afraid to ask those people for business, you need to go get another career. I mean, seriously, like start looking around. There's some great job openings all over the place right now. So you can go out there. I mean, hey, none of the servers want to go back to work because they're making more in unemployment. You can go look at that. You can be a cook. You can do whatever. So if you are afraid to ask everyone you know for business, go get a new career. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm being honest, because that is the key. That is the key. So just something to keep in mind. Next up, of course, staying in touch. We talked about that, right? Making sure you have your calendar, making sure that you're doing something for everybody for 4th of July, making sure that you're sending them a personal text, not a Facebook or Instagram. Hey, happy birthday. I'm talking a personal text for their birthday. I love, we talked about it before, how Vicki Carpenter sings happy birthday. Hi, Leanne. I just wanted to say happy birthday. Happy birthday. She sings the whole thing. You want to talk about awkward? She sings the whole thing and sends it to me. And I'm just sitting there watching it alone at home like, this is creepy. But I remember her doing it. You know what I mean? It's really cool. So same thing with holidays. You know, hopefully you're sending them something cool for holidays. And I told you guys before, don't forget, if you wish somebody a happy birthday, you may be the only person that wished that person a happy birthday that day. It happens all the time. So it's important to do that. So again, and when you do send texts or emails or calls or whatever, again, always use their first name. Hey, Jessica, how are you? You know, I mean, hey, Corey, how are you? Hey, Lise, how are you? So always use their first name. Face them prior to, see what's going on in their life when you reach out to contact them, when you're going to call them or you're going to text or whatever. And again, I really like what Tristan said when he said the 3 things. What was it? Like, comment, and DM. Right? So if somebody posts something, I like it, I comment on it, and I direct message them. And it was really funny because we did a show 2 weeks ago right after we had him on Monday, and he liked it, the show. He commented on it, and he direct messaged me about how much he liked the show. But I was like, this guy is practicing what he's preaching. You know what I'm saying? So just a thought. And that's a great way to keep in touch. And for those of you guys, how many, just tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you. How many of you guys have a complete 100 people in your database right now? Okay, how many of you guys have 75? Okay, I appreciate you being honest. 50? Okay, where is it? Where's your list?
In my CRM.
Okay, good. So you have it.
Yeah.
Do you have their phone numbers, their address, their emails?
I mainly have everything but their address.
Okay, we need to get that.
Mainly. Yeah.
This is an excellent opportunity for you to reach out to those people. Okay, so you're going to send them a text today. And that text is going to be, for example, hey, Corey, this is Chuck. I'm updating my database for my favorite people. Can I get your home address? I want to send you out some information on this crazy real estate market. Hope everything is great with you. That's it. That's all I want you to do. And now they're going to send you their address. So now I can send them cards for the holidays. Now I can mail them a beach ball. Now I can, do whatever things I need to do. But reaching out for people and updating your database is prospecting. You guys know what I'm talking about? By asking them for their additional information, it's like it's hitting so many avenues at the same time because it's collecting more information. Because you can email me, just so you guys know, you can email me. I'll never get back to you. I don't check my email. I hate email. I hate it. I can't stand it. If you text me, though, you're going to get a response. Does that make sense? Yeah. And everybody's different. But there are people that, especially the boomers, they love email. They love it. So you still got to make sure that you're emailing them once in a while, too. So having an attainable number is important first. So do you have any yet, Corey? How many do you have?
About 50.
Yeah, okay, about 50. I want you to be able to say, I have 48.
I have like 56.
Okay, good. That's better. I like that. I'll take it. All right, so now, if I were to ask you how many do you have that you have their email, their address, and their cell phone number, how many would you say? All of it.
About 90%.
Really? Okay, that's good. That's good. If you come next Wednesday, can you bring it? I want to see it. Yeah. Okay, great. So that'd be super good. And you said 56? Okay, cool, 56. So bring it and print it out. No, bring it and print it out. And you said 90%, so 90% times 56. So you should have about 49 of them have all the information. So I just want to check them out and see them. That'd be super great. Thank you. All right, so.
Just got homework.
And then the ones that you don't have, I'd like you to text them. Hey, I have your cell phone number and your home address, but I don't have your email. I have some really great stuff I'd like to email you out. Would you mind sending me that information? Or sending me your email address? Hope everything's great with you, Corey. So try to get to 56 complete by the time you come to next Wednesday. And I'm going to have some fantastic guests next Wednesday, by the way. Super studs that are coming in from other companies, so it's going to be great. So all avenues of communication is important. Just something to keep in mind. Next up, asking for the business. We talked about that. We'll get you started, right? I mean, asking for the business. Hey, thanks for sending me your email address. I really appreciate it. By the way, do you happen to know anybody that may be looking to buy or sell? I have a goal of selling 20 families, or helping 20 families get into homes this year. Would you happen to know anybody? See how aggressive that is? And if they say, no, I don't know anybody at this time, super great. You know, say hi to Elise for me, hope life's good. That's it. But asking for business is the key. If you don't ask, you're never gonna get it. And you remember the billionaire that was on there, and I said, what's the one piece of advice that you would give them? And he said, ask for the order. He said, there's the difference between a billionaire and an average person is the person that asks for the order. So ask for business. And like I said, you're going to get deals from just prospecting, sending all these people this information. If you could do the same, that'd be great. If you could do the same, that'd be great. If you could do the same, that'd be great. Okay, Leanne, you're just still getting to know people, so you're off the hook a little bit. This much. This much. Okay? How many do you have?
With everything?
Yes.
Like 47.
How many complete?
That's 47.
Okay, can you bring those next Wednesday? Print them out and bring them for me? That'd be super great. How many do you guys have? Chris, Judith?
Ask him.
No pressure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Do you have your top 100 yet? No. Okay. Need to get that together though, right? Because that's the key. If I was to ask any of the top 50 in this company, if they have their databases done, they're 100% complete. We work on that in the masterminds too. 100% complete. Every detail you'd possibly want to know. So just something to keep in mind. All right. Next up, yes.
I just have a funny story. I had a girl come in and I had a photographer and I said, oh, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I teach kids gymnastics. I go, oh, that's great. You're going to have a killer database. She's like, am I allowed to talk about real estate with these people? I'm like, God, yes.
Well, I know people that especially like one of the greatest places I mean, one of the most our number one agent last year, who did 760,000. You know where I met her? She was the bartender at Pepe's.
Yep.
You guys know what I'm saying? Do I need to go any further? And she was not afraid to ask for business. She was not afraid to build relationships. You know what I mean? Some of the others, so the three most successful people in this business are bartenders and servers, teachers, particularly elementary school teachers, and hairdressers and hair and nails. Those are the three most successful. Because number one, they've learned, you got to go, huh? Go for it. Thank you for coming though. So you have to know how to small talk. It's knowing how to small talk and knowing how to ask for information. So just remember though, creating your information and gathering information is prospecting. And then of course, texting program is really easy. Once you start texting them once, it's easy to continue to text them. You know, personal business, personal business, personal business. And of course, engaging their social media, which I like, I comment, and I direct message as much as I possibly can. And that's some of the big stuff. A couple other things. I talked about this before, but unfortunately some of you guys have heard it. I coached football forever. And one of the guys that I coached with for multiple seasons, and I mean, if you coach football, if you have kids in football, it's 5 days a week. It's practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and a game every Saturday. You live with those kids, and you live with their parents, and you live with the coaches that you coach with. And those coaches, it's a bond, man. They're coming over to your house on Sunday. They're watching game film. What can we do to help this kid get better? What can we do here? What can we do there? And so these guys become like your blood brothers. And the team mom, you guys, it's just all one big group, you know? And it was the last, I was videoing this day. I was walking with him videoing, which is really funny. And I was videoing the field because I knew it was the last day I was ever going to coach because my youngest was going on to high school. And I had the lights, it was the lights going, it was the last practice. And we were walking across the field. And I was talking to Kurt, and Kurt goes, so hey, Chuck, question for you. Sure, and I'd been coaching with him for years. He goes, what do you do? I was like, what? And he's like, what do you do for a living? I'm like, dude, I sell homes. Like, I'm in the real estate business. And he's like, you are? He goes, that is so funny. He goes, I just listed my house right there off Calle de Oso Oro last week. And I'm like, of course you did. You know, and he's like, yeah. He goes, and actually we're buying one over on the other side of West Marietta, over up against Hayes right now. We just went into escrow. I'm like, well, good for you. That's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. But I realized he did not know what I did. A couple of my friends were like, dude, he knew what you did. He just didn't want to work with you because you're an a-hole. I'm like, no, that's not true. But I missed out on him. I missed out on his family. I missed out on his parents. I missed out on his friends because I forgot to put him in my database. I forgot to tell him what I do. And and again, this was years ago, but it was my mistake. So don't assume that people know what you do for a living. You have to be that walking, talking billboard. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And it is what it is. And that conversation hurt. Still hurts to this day. But again, and if you're from out of area like you are, Leanne, don't be discouraged. And how long have you been back?
I have a funny story about that.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so Memorial Day just passed,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, I just moved here during the pandemic. I got to start my real estate business.
Right.
So I did flyers, and I went to my neighbors and invited them to a Memorial Day party at my house.
Nice.
So I went probably 5 this way, 3 that way. I didn't want it like too big.
So you invited all your neighbors to your house for
My
Memorial Day.
neighbors
Okay.
All had food, and we had a good time. 2 of them are real estate agents. Yay!
Well, not to invite them again. That's pretty funny. Really?
Yep.
Well, wow. And they're active realists?
Active.
Oh, no wonder they showed up.
Yep. Oh, yeah, they were trying, and it worked too.
They're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. But,
I'm sorry, I didn't really invite you.
oh, yeah. But maybe, hey, what do you do? Right? But yeah. So don't be discouraged, though. The bottom line is the other people were not. And they're not going to their house, they're going to your house. And they are not as positive as you are. That's right. So again, your job is to build your client pool. Your job is to get out there. It's to get involved. It's to do all these different things. So just something to be in mind. And again, your goal is to be in front of as many people as possible, collect their information, and then over-communicate and automate your connections on getting back to them. And you know what? Just automatically knowing that on December 4th, I need to write out my holiday cards, there's a sense of automating your stuff. If you're using Elevated or you're using some form of a drip system email, that's automated. If if you're texting, that's automated. Like I text everybody yesterday. Was your name in the text, Jessica? Do you remember the text I sent you? So I put your name in it, and then I write it, and then as soon as you respond back to me, I respond back with a personalized message. Right, Gabby?
Yeah.
So collect info, over communicate. And I said, this is not an automated text I sent you. And it wasn't. I use hit 'em up, right? I don't use the automated. I use hit 'em up. No, you don't do copy and paste. That's way too hard. If you're not using hit 'em up for your texting program, you're blowing it, by the way, guys. Hit 'em up is great. You write it once. Good.
There's a Hit 'em Up class today at noon on Zoom.
Oh, God, you guys should all be on that.
So-
Be on the hit 'em up class today at noon.
I know it's double training today, but
Hit 'em up class at noon, do it. All right, cool. So again, and success comes to the loud and proud, right? Or at least those that are out there and not afraid to ask for business. And I do have more. Where are we at right now? All right, 3 minutes. All right, well, I actually was gonna go into my favorite section, which we're gonna have to save for 2 weeks from now because we have special guests next week. But any questions about anything that we went over today? Did anybody have anything they want to ask? Did you like the material? It's just about, we are in the relationship business. We are in the personality business. But you can be as likable as you want, but if you don't have something behind the scenes where you're sending out texts, sending out your, making your posts, commenting and DMing on everybody, if you're not doing all those things, then you can like as many people as you want, but people aren't going to remember you. So you just have to be memorable, collect information, stay in front of everybody, and remind them to remember you. That's really what it's all about. So basically, Adam, did you want to add anything?
Folks at home, please subscribe, share, and thank you
Comment.
for being here. Comment. Thank you for being here with us today. We love you.
Right on, guys. So hey, there you go. Next week we got a bunch more good stuff coming down the pipe. Don't forget the sales meeting tomorrow. Are you guys all coming to the sales meeting tomorrow? It's going to be great. The speaker I'm bringing in is Greg Reed. He's the guy that wrote. He works for the Napoleon Hill Foundation, which is Think and Grow Rich. And he wrote 3 Feet from Gold, and he's been on one of our Zoom calls in the past. He is fantastic, he's fabulous, and he's going to be worth it. Don't forget it's going to be at the Lodge at 8:30 tomorrow. So everybody be there, be square. There'll be a lot more good information tomorrow, and I promise it'll be worth your time. It's going to be fun, everybody being able to get back together, like in a big group. Right now I think we have well over 200 people confirmed coming tomorrow. So if you want to wear your mask, go for it. You don't have to anymore though, right? You don't want to? Okay. All right, guys. So thank you guys for being here. Have a great remaining rest of your week. We'll see you at the sales meeting tomorrow. So thanks, guys. Appreciate all you guys coming. All right, guys. You're great. Thank you. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Michael.